What's going on, guys? It's Omae and we're back for the brand new video. Today's topic will be accessible assault rumble teams for the 12th anniversary using no characters from the 12th anniversary batches. Today we'll be going through the Akainu boss, the Shanks boss, and the Luffy boss using this team against Akainu, this team against Shanks, and this final team against Luffy. So there are a lot of characters here who are level 150, but in most cases it's really just going to make a slight increase in your damage. It's not going to change the team's mechanics whatsoever. So I do want to discuss these teams with you guys, why I made these decisions in terms of which characters I'm using. So against up Shanks, you have to be very careful against this boss. Yes, it is a dex boss. Remember, there's no color affinity in Rumble. The only reason you run type advantage teams is because these characters have resistance in their passive abilities to reduce damage taken from dex enemies. And in Assault Rumble, the amount of HP you have remaining by the time the battle ends is very important for your score. So keep that in mind. And also for Assault Rumble exclusive legends and rare recruits, you will see they will also deal more damage to dex enemies. So only them, they deal more damage. For the other characters, it's just to take less damage. But for this team here, the premise is Marcus Mars and V2 Saturn. We run the versus Lucci character, who we want to have at least 5 world governments or navy tag characters. We meet that thanks to Saturn, Mars, Lucci himself, Akainu on the bench, and Otsuru. We also need 5 shooters for Marcus Mars to work. So we have Kuma, we have Marcus Mars himself, and then everyone on the bench are shooter units. So that is also very important. Now, this boss is going to take more damage against strength and driven characters. So if a character is both strength and driven, it is in your benefit. You'll essentially get extra 40% damage, which is massive. 4 Emperors and Celestial Dragons also get another 30% damage in all of the bosses, so keep that in mind. This means all of the 5 Elders do extra 30% damage since they are Celestial Dragon tag. Of course, 4 Emperors, all Luffy's from post 1.0 or cross guild buggies, Shanks legends, even old Kaido and Big Moms will fit the criteria, so keep that in mind. And you don't want to be using any quick characters. I don't know why you would be anyways, but they will be dealing less damage by 20%. And also, you want to be very careful about bringing the debuff style characters into this match, because they will get action baited for 20 seconds quite frequently. So that will completely ruin the character, and that can heavily affect your run. So characters like Pirate Rumble Pika, don't run him. He is a debuff style character. He will get action binded, and the only time you should be running a debuff style character on your team for this boss is if they are resistant to action bind. So characters like the PKA, Vice Admiral, Doll, and Bluegrass, that character can resist the action bind. So just make sure you keep that in mind if you are going to make your own teams. Also, support style characters get attack down of level 7. At the end of the day, though, usually support style characters aren't doing a lot of damage anyways, so that's not a big deal. So that does hurt Marcus Mars, unfortunately. He will get attack down of level 7, but he is a strength character, he's driven, and he's a Celestial Dragon. So he's getting a lot of damage from the gimmicks regardless, so we can kind of just ignore that. Marcus Mars makes up for that regardless. So that's about it. I think that's everything you need to know. Beckman's special is the only one that will debuff us by giving us crit percent down of level 5 for 20 seconds and speed down of level 5 for 20 seconds. Of course, there are 4 enemies, so there's going to be a lot of damage, and this team can tank very well. So let's get into it. I have the new Blackbeard, so even though I'm not using him on these teams, one thing I forgot to mention, which is super important for this boss, do not run any free spirit characters. Not a single unit should be free spirit. They will get heavily debuffed, forced out, action binded, all the worst things. Do not run a free spirit character. They will be useless on your team. They'll essentially waste the slot. So don't run any free spirits. Be very careful about that. Okay, so we're dealing a decent amount of damage. The battle like barely started, and Shanks is already about to get broken. Now, I do have a separate video that I'm gonna make explaining Assault Rumble for beginners, because it is a very confusing game mode. Just Power Rumble at base is quite confusing for new players. But then Assault Rumble is just like a completely different style here. So much different nuances and differences and different priorities compared to a regular Power Rumble. But all you need to know is once you break the enemy by taking out all the HP, they will take multiple times more damage. So you want to get them into the broken state as quick as possible. They will still continue attacking you as normal, but as I said, they will take much more damage, which will increase your damage score significantly. In the final 30 seconds, your damage and cooldowns will charge really quick. As I said, your damage will go up. So the final 30 seconds are really crucial. You really want to activate a few specials for your main DPS units in that final moment. But the battle's only halfway done, and we're already at a 300,000 score. That's very good. But I think the main thing with this team is also it's just very tanky, and we're constantly proccing those super specials, and Luffy is just an absolute beast. Now, one thing that is super important, I slacked in Kizuna, so I did not get the 6+ evolution of Kid. But if you have him, he is so good for this. Like, I can't stress it enough. He will like do way more damage than anyone here. If you have him, replace Doflamingo with him. That's the best option here, because Doflamingo isn't really helping anyone else. He's not a shooter, so he's not helping Mars. He's not a Navy or World Government character, so he's not helping out Lucci. So it's very easy to replace him. And Doflamingo is just a raw DPS character, very similar to Kid. But the new Kid, he has special damage for Assault Rumble. He's just so broken. So yeah, definitely put 6+ Kid there if you have him. Not his 6-star form, definitely not. Doflamingo will be way better. So our damage score looking like to get up to 1 million at least. In the run I tested the team with, I got to 1.2 million. Let's see if we can do the same. Oh, we're gonna get very close. Come on, Dofi. Yes, that's easy. That's easy 1.2 mil. Nah, it's so close, bro. Now, as I said, I do have Blackbeard, so it will increase the score that you're about to see by 1.61x. But I will tally the scores and divide. Oh wait, no, as you can see in the bottom right corner, it says trusty 1.51x. So I'm just going to divide the score by that amount, and that'll give you the true score for this battle. And then I will add the scores up for all the battles, and the title will display what the final score is, just so you know exactly what score and total score you can get using these teams, right? So that was pretty good. We had a very good life score as well. We didn't take a lot of damage. We were healing quite a bit as well, I'm pretty sure. If you do have the Rumble Legend Stussy, she's a great option to run on that team in replacement of Kuma. So that's about it. Now let's move on to the next boss. This is up against Akainu. This team, this is easily the most unorthodox one, but I'm very proud of it. I think the main awesome thing about this is that we're using Carrot and Wanda. This character is never used in regular content, but in Power Rumble, not bad for this boss in particular. The reason I say that is because Fujitoro will just straight up give you a 50% HP cut in the latter 60 seconds of the battle. That is like gonna destroy your life score. The only way to really reliably get around that is to get a shield. Shield buff allows you to tank a hit completely, even if it's a massive amount of HP you'd be losing. This Zoro does provide shield throughout the battle, which is great for our life score. He also does a lot of damage, but at the end of the day, it's not enough. We are going to need another character to provide that. Since the enemy takes increased damage to fighters and slashers, Carrot and Wanda themselves, I mean, their counter stance, I'm not sure how exactly the increase in damage works with counter stance. But either way, I'm just going to assume that it does increase the damage that the counter stance does. Counter stance is essentially whenever the enemy does a normal attack to Carrot and Wanda, they take 3 times Carrot and Wanda's attack as damage to themselves. Doesn't go through defense, but it's still quite powerful over time. She does also provoke herself, so it forces all of the enemies to focus on her. The main thing though is that when she is dying, she will give the enemy, the entire team, a level 5 shield for 30 seconds. Each level of shield is 500 HP, so that is extremely powerful. And then she also will have her Rumble super special. Now in the testing run that I did, she activated the Rumble super special once, and then when she died, she gave everyone shield again. And because of the defensive effects, the massive damage, attack up of level 10, and speed up of level 10, all this is allowing her to make the rest of the team basically survive with 90% HP for the entire match. So even though she's dying, that's bad for our life score. Overall, it's a massive benefit. This character is really good for this as a support style unit. But the main interesting unit here that I saw was Luffy and Law 6+. This character is both fighter and slasher, so they're going to get that extra 40% damage. Unfortunately, Luffy's not a 4 Emperor yet at this point, so you don't get that extra 30% damage, but it is what it is. He's going to provide extra attack, speed, and then if you have 4 more Straw Hat Pirates, Hard Pirates, or Paramythia type, then he gives himself attack up of level 5. And in Assault Rumble, fighter and slasher class teammates HP up of level 5. So everyone gets an extra 1250 HP from that passive. Now, you might be wondering, do we meet that criteria? For both Zoro to activate his special at the start of the match, and for Luffy Law's second part of the special, we need 4 Straw Hat Pirates. So versus Zoro is 1, Luffy Law is 2, the Sober Mask on the bench is 3, and then the O-Robbie co-op unit is 4. O-Robbie co-op is easily replaceable. Sober Mask is going to become a sub unit or a main lineup unit thanks to Halmepo providing the sub swap mechanic. He works really well with the sword units. We need at least 3 sword characters on the crew for this guy to be really good. So that is very important that we have this Drake here. He's the only other sword character in the entire game with a 20 cost, so he's very important to put on the team, and he does have his tags, of course, so we aren't using his abilities whatsoever. He's just there for his tag. And then of course Garp and Kobe doing so much damage over time. So we kind of have 2 factions on this team, the Straw Hat Pirates part and then the sword part, but they all synergize really well together, all tied up together nicely with Carrot and Wanda. So I'm quite proud of this team. Let's see how it does. It got pretty good numbers when I did the testing, so let's see how it goes. Also, I didn't tell you exactly which like classes or types get heavily debuffed on this I was about to say this floor, this boss, but I'm pretty sure it's shooters. Shooters get heavily debuffed here. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so they do a lot of these ranged attacks in a massive range, and that can really hurt your characters over time. Assault Rumble is really just a battle of attrition. It's not like in regular Rumble where in the first like 50 seconds the match is decided. In this battle, the final 30 seconds are really important for that damage. And since Halmepo has 3 sword units here, Sanji is now a main lineup character. Unfortunately, the only thing that sucks with this team is that you don't really want to be running a lot of support style characters. Carrot and Wanda is a support style character. The only real like con of running them is that they get an extra 10% CT delay. But Carrot and Wanda's cooldown is so low already as is that 10% is like 1 or 2 seconds. It's really negligible. But yeah, you just don't want to run like a team of like 3 support characters. That would definitely hinder your team. So Carrot and Wanda, even though they're highest HP unit on the team, since they did provide the provoke, they take most of the hits. A 40-second shield. So this character, Carrot and Wanda, will die, but we want that to happen since she will provide a special upon death. Okay, we broke Fujitora and also Sakazuki. Our damage is going to go through the roof. Sober Mask, can he please go above the enemies? Damn it, I hate Sober Mask. He always targets his targeting is like he goes downwards diagonally, but he never actually goes like above the enemies. He always like goes below them, and then he only targets one enemy. It's super annoying. But he does provide a 10% CT delay, so I cannot complain. The enemy also does give us dot in this quest, but since we are activating our specials so frequently, there's barely any normal attacks that we are doing. And if you don't know, in Treasure Cruise, dot can only activate when you do a normal attack. If you use a special, dot will not activate. But in most cases, in regular content, you cannot ignore dot, because every level of dot takes 5% of your maximum HP every time you do a normal attack. So in this Assault Rumble, for example, the enemy gives us a level 3 dot. So every time a character does a normal attack, they will lose 15% HP, which is really bad for our life score. And it makes it a very good chance that these characters will just straight up die. So a lot of yapping here, but hopefully I'm teaching you guys something if you are a more newer player. But the one thing I love about Assault Rumble is you don't need to grind it. Like, yes, some teams require RNG, in which case you want to spam gems to try and get the perfect runs. But at the end of the day, for most people, you just make a good team and it defeats the Assault Rumble. And that is a pretty good score for this team, if I'm being honest. Of course, you do want to run the new Luffy Gear 4 with the versus Zoro that I'm running on this team. Don't run Rumble Ace. That character is pretty much useless in Rumble, besides for his passive charging Luffy's cooldown. Because that Ace, he forces out characters. In Assault Rumble, enemies are immune to forced out. He does give, I think, percent damage reduction. He reduces enemies' HP by a percentage, which is also useless in Rumble, because the enemy is also resistant to HP reduction damage. So don't use Rumble Ace. It's really not worth it. Definitely run versus Zoro though, and the new gear for Luffy if you have them. So thank you guys for watching. That's gonna be about it for the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Oh wait, I'm actually losing it, bro. There's one final team. So this one is the quick one. Bro, I'm actually done, bro. I'm actually done. So this one is strength. You don't want to run shooter characters. Shooters deal less damage, of course. You want to be running your driven and cerebral characters. Now this team is based around the Kaido Alba and the Kaido Big Mom, because not only are they driven units, but they are also both 4 emperors, so they deal an extra 30% damage, and both of them are DPS characters, so the damage is going to go crazy. The only issue I had with this team when I tested it is that Kaido Alba is very fragile. Like, he dies very easily, so I moved him to the rightmost position on the main lineup, meaning he will take less normal attacks. But at the end of the day, we are running with the new Smoothie and PKA Pudding. These characters work so well with Big Mom and Katakuri. Luckily, Katakuri Big Mom does survive very well, so I don't have to worry about them. But Pudding essentially gives Big Mom and Katakuri 30% cooldown when she uses her special, and an attack up buff and a defense up buff. Defense up is easily like the most important defensive effect besides shield in Treasure Cruise. It's just so powerful. So Big Mom will not die, and she will also deal more damage. This Pudding will also give interval healing to all characters, I think. No, all quick and driven units, which is basically everyone on the team. Most of our characters are driven units, so more healing, our life score is going to be better, higher chance of Kaido and Alba surviving. Also more attacker buffs. So this unit is great in Assault Rumble. Also does give herself HP up buff and special CT speed up buff of level 3 in Assault Rumble. Special CT speed up of level 3 essentially gives her a 6% reduction in her charge time. So for her, it's about 3 seconds of her charge time reduced, which is not bad. Overall, she's pretty nice. The good thing now is that Smoothie was buffed, and she now can provide the sub swap mechanic. If you have 2 more Big Mom characters on the crew, we have 3. She will swap the first character with herself. So Pudding will come in after Smoothie does all of her nice stuff. Smoothie is a quick power slasher. Unfortunately, she's not driven nor is she cerebral. but she will be dealing an extra 30% damage to strength units, so she kind of makes up for that. She does a lot of damage, she gives a lot of cooldown, and she really does help support Big Mom very significantly. Silver Mask is just a really powerful DPS against mono strength teams, so that's why we're running him. He doesn't have Driven or Cerebral either, but he is working with the powerhouse team of the team. Walker is just a massive tank to soak up damage and also does a lot of defensive mechanics. So let's go straight into it. This is the final team, but I do have a alternate version for you guys to run. If you don't have all these quick team characters, you can just use the strength team that I showed you against Akainu. Very slightly change it, because you don't want to be running Walkyrie because he's a shooter unit, and all those other navy units like Akainu, PvP Legend, Atsuru, even the PvP rare recruit Kuma, Legend Kuma, he's also a shooter. So all those characters I replaced with other options, and that's going to make the team a lot more adapted to this boss. But yeah, I think this one's pretty good. The only problem, as I said, is Kaido and Alba is going to die very easily. But I did change the positions, so there's a good chance that that actually saves him. And it may seem insignificant, but the positions are so important in Pirate Rumble. It's hard to change to control where the characters are on the battlefield. The easiest way is to just swap their positions. There are mechanics like knockback in this game, which can change positions, make it very hard to align specials. Okay, unfortunately there, Smoothie died. That did not happen in the first run, so that's quite unfortunate. Okay. Kaido Alba is really hanging in there though. You see, in the last run, what happened was I put Smoothie in the position where Kaido Alba is now, and Kaido Alba was in the position where Smoothie was. So maybe that position in specific, I should put a Walkyrie there. I think that's the best strat. Swap Smoothie and Silver Mask position. I think that's the best idea. But Kaido Alba was long dead by this point, so this is very good. All the enemies have broken, which is awesome. A lot of damage from Walkyrie. Lots of buffs. Unfortunately, he only really buffs himself. We do have Orochi there. I don't think he really does much though. He is a Pirate Rumble legend. Yeah, HP cut is completely useless in Assault Rumble. He was just kind of there as a filler unit. Same with the Blue Gully. I think that's his name. Blue Jam. If anything, swap Blue Jam and Orochi's position. Blue Jam actually does a decent amount of damage. Like actual damage, not HP cuts. Okay, we special binded them. That's pretty nice. Kaido Alba, please. Yes, one final hoopla. But all of our characters want to activate again. Bro, we have Kaido, Big Mom, Walkyrie, and Silver Mask that were about to activate. That's super annoying. It could be better. I will just quickly show you guys the result if you use the alternate team from the versus Akainu one. This is the team I'm talking about. I think this will probably do more damage, let's be real. But I did like this team. But I will also just try this again. Once again, swapping these characters' positions. And let's see what happens. So I'll do these testings and I'll meet you guys at the results. Also, damn, this Dex team with the sword unit performed really well this match. 8 million, basically 9 million score. So yeah, guys, definitely use this team. There might be some RNG involved, but that time Carrot and Wanda did survive. So I'm not Carrot and Wanda, Carrot, Dogstorm, Cat Viper, whatever the fuck you want to call them. But yeah, very good score. I'm very happy with this team. Very proud of it as well. I didn't even use any resources. I just looked at my box. We got the Rumble expert here, guys. You know. Okay, so let's take a look at the strength team. I'm just going to skip it. I'm not going to play it for you guys. This is already a 24-minute video. It's way too long. Come on, bro. Let's see. Vice Admiral Doll and Bluegrass is great here. Ooh. Never mind, guys. Use that team I showed you. Well, I'm actually really glad that we died, because that means I don't have to go through the whole rotation again. If you don't kill the boss, you can fight them again. So Let me just quickly see if we can get a better run with that other quick team now that I swapped Smoothie's position away, because Smoothie really makes a big difference. The fact that she died so early there is a big problem for our overall score. So I know we can get a better score. Come on, bro. I think for these teams we can get a total of like a 15 million score without any of the new batch, which is crazy. So let's see. Please, Smoothie and Kaido Alba are hiding there in the back. Okay, Smoothie swapped to the sub. Kaido Alba died. Oh no. Oh, everyone's dying. Everyone's dying. Just pretend you didn't see that, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. And I'm out.